Welcome to the Poultry Doc Podcast. I'm Dr. Blayne. In today's episode, we're digging into one of the most common but confusing issues in backyard flocks, eye swelling and conjunctivitis. From mycoplasma to irritants, I'll help you decode the causes and show you how a simple swab can help get the answers you need. If you find this episode helpful, go ahead and peck that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's head out to the coop. Welcome everyone to the Poultry Doc Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Blayne. Today, we are northwest of San Antonio and visiting Larissa's property. So, Larissa, first of all, let's tell us a little bit about what you got, your birds and when you got them, how long have you had them, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I'm a new chicken owner, fairly. It's been about a little bit over a year, so I'm still learning. I've slowly grown the flock, so we got some babies in there, we got a couple roosters, black copper Moran, cream leg bar, and then I got a broody girl sitting on some eggs.
Yeah. And you mentioned you buy them locally as chicks, or are you raising them from chicks? Okay.
Yeah.
You want to let them out?
Yeah, I can let them out. Here we go. Come on. Oop.
Well, they're heading to a spot.
They are. I usually throw some feed out there for them. They're going to come back probably here in a second.
Larissa, tell us about Moonshine and some of the issues that you've been seeing with her recently.
Yeah, so she was fine one day, and then the next she kind of had like swelling in her eyes, redness, discharge. I've done all the natural remedies, vet RX, oregano, all that kind of stuff. And she's kind of just stayed stagnant. So not getting any better, not getting any worse.
And how old is she?
She's going on 6 months.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. You hadn't, not laying yet.
Not laying
right?
yet, no.
So yeah, she's probably getting close.
Mm-hmm.
And you got her as a baby chick, or?
As a baby chick, yeah.
Okay. You know, one of those things, what Larissa described is basically like a conjunctivitis of the eye. So when you look closely, and we'll pick her up in a second, you'll see that she's got some inflamed tissues around the eyes. It was a little bit more severe in the pictures that I saw, so it's gotten a little better today. And I think it kind of ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
In terms of how severe it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say with 100% certainty what that is, like just the conjunctivitis of the eye. There's many things that can cause that. Anything from trauma, she could get something into the eye. That since both are affected, that's probably less likely. But you know, bronchitis can do it. Mycoplasma, which is a high on the list here, can do that. Ammonia, dust. There's so many things that can cause inflammation of the eye. Can't just say that's 100% what it is, right? So it involves doing some diagnostic work, relatively minor. And this is one of the things that the poultrydoc.com is going to be helping backyard growers like yourself with, is in these cases provide the diagnostics that you need to determine exactly what the problem is, or hopefully exactly what the problem is. And so today I'm going to walk Larissa through how we're going to do that test, which is basically just a swab of her mouth, essentially. Chickens have a cleft palate, and within that little slit there is a great place to swab for various respiratory diseases, right? So we can look for bronchitis there, we can look for mycoplasma there, several other things, and it's relatively easy. I like to say I hold them like a football, and you can kind of open their mouth a little bit. You can stick the swab, and you really don't even need to see where you're going with the swab, because if you just go into the roof of the mouth, you're going to pretty much be in the right spot. What you're seeing there is basically her cleft palate, and again, that's normal in chickens. And so what we're going to want to do is take that swab and just go into that little division in the roof of her mouth in the cleft and swirl it around for a second or two, and then that's it. That's really the swab. Again, I like to hold her, you know, birds, it's easy now that she's sitting on my leg. I'm kind of holding her like a football. I can take my left finger and put it like in the corner of her mouth to keep it open. And I can use my right hand with the swab and put it in her mouth, which I have in my back pocket. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my right hand to open her mouth. I put my little index finger in her mouth, just in the corner of her mouth to keep it open. Again, I can take this swab and it's right in the top of her mouth there. Swirl it around a little bit, it's fine. It doesn't take much. So you can see there's a little bit of material on the swab. That's really all you need. You don't have to get in there and be very aggressive with it. Just basically, as long as it's in that cleft, swirl it around a time or two with your fingers, give it a twist. That's really what we need for the test. This will go into a tube of media that'll come with the test. It's basically like a transport media, keeps whatever's in there alive. And before we're gonna run the test on it. So Do you want to give it a shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So she's gonna just hold her like that, and then again with her left hand, right hand, open the mouth. Use your little left index finger to kind of just keep it open. And I'll hand you the swab. Again, they can get kind of feisty.
I always struggle when they like shake their head like that.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, it's not like pleasant, you know, you're gonna,
Right.
it's just like when you're trying to.
I know, baby.
Yeah, she'll have that split, like right up in the top. So there's her tongue right there, yeah.
Right here?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you see she's got a little material on there, so that's all she needs. And there's a little bit of blood there, that's normal. You'll have like those serosal tissues, they're kind of delicate. Think of it like a nosebleed sort of thing, so it's not unusual to see that. So what we did see is when I was handling Moonshine, the eye that was most affected, which was gonna be her right side, we got some like caseous type material in there, cheese-like stuff, which tells me, again, you can't really say for certain what it is. Could have been some foreign material, foreign object in there that irritated her enough where the body kind of walled it off. Good thing is we got it out. So number one, that's gonna be a good step in the road to recovery for her. But what we're gonna do with Moonshine is put her on an antibiotic for Mycoplasma, just in case. Plus that eye did look a little infected and the material that we were getting out of it hints at an eye infection going on in there. So it's certainly not gonna hurt to get her healthier faster. And so Larissa, have you had any of the other birds showing any other signs?
No, not at all. All of them look pretty healthy.
Which is great. I mean, it's less likely an infectious process, right? And so it could be, like we said, the foreign body getting into her eye and causing enough irritation where it finally looks like she's getting sick. And it could be then again like a secondary E. coli or something like that that may have affected her eye. The medication will help though. So today on the Poultry Doc podcast, we talked about how to swab for potential respiratory diseases and other diseases, and it's going to be a service that you're going to find through thepoultrydoc.com in the weeks to come. We hope they'll be launching that site within the next 2 to 3 weeks for sure. So when this is recorded, I say that because we're not exactly sure when it's going to come out. Larissa, is there anything else, any other questions that you had?
So if it does wind up being infectious and we treat it, is she going to be okay to go with the flock or?
Yeah, so she's already been with the flock, right?
Right.
Prior to
yeah,
this?
yeah, before I noticed, yeah.
So if it was infectious, then like Mycoplasma gallisepticum, MG is really the bad bug that we really worry about. And being that she's already been exposed to the other birds, it's likely they would already all have it, right?
Okay.
It's extremely infectious to the point where I'm handling her and we're just around her. Me breathing in, I can breathe in the dander from her feathers, and it's been shown in studies that it can live in my nose
Oh, wow.
for like 4 days.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I mean, regardless, one thing is, and we'll have a video on this coming up about biosecurity and good biosecurity, but you got to keep in mind, like if you can inhale something and it can still be found in my nasal passages 4 days later, it's a pretty contagious bug, right?
Right.
So it's hard to control those things. So if it's MG, that's not good, and we can talk about that when it comes back as positive. Hopefully it's neither, and hopefully maybe we get some E. coli or whatever off of this, and it's not a big deal, and the antibiotics that we're going to give today will help. But yeah, MG is one where it can really cause problems. The eggs that she would lay, or if Larissa wanted to hatch those eggs, they would also be positive for any mycoplasma, gallisepticum or synoviae. So it's one where you really need to consider what you're going to do with the birds and how much you interact with other people who have birds, because you don't want to transfer that disease around. So while mycoplasma is contagious and bad for birds, it doesn't affect people at all. So nothing wrong with the eggs there. And actually, commercial eggs that you buy in the store, many of those flocks are going to have MS just because it's so easily transmitted. The flocks that have MG, they typically they try to control it really well, which means some of those flocks end up being euthanized because it's such a contagious disease and it has such an impact on health. They really try to prevent it from spreading by euthanizing those flocks. So fortunately, it's very rare that it does happen. But again, there's no issues there with eating those eggs. They're perfectly healthy, and they're not gonna, that disease, Mycoplasma, does not affect people. So.
Okay, and how about other animals?
Getting the Mycoplasma?
Yeah, like dogs, cats.
No, that Mycoplasma, Synoviae gallisepticum, are specific to chickens.
Okay.
Or birds, I should put it that way, because wild birds can carry it as well too, so that's one of the ways it can be introduced. But as far as your other backyard dogs and cats and goats or whatever you may have, Larissa doesn't have goats, but that wouldn't be an issue. You know, and this again comes back to, we've talked about it a couple times, where you source the birds becomes really important, and whether they have MG or not, or any sort of Mycoplasma. And you don't always know, but you try to do your best and find those birds that don't have it. So, well, Larissa, thanks again for letting us come out and take a look at Moonshine. The results for the test will come back in, it takes about 3 days, and hopefully medications that we have her on, she'll improve, and we'll come back and do a checkup, or at least I'll check in with you and see how things are going. I appreciate everybody joining, and like and subscribe and share the content here if you enjoy it. And again, thanks for joining thepoultrydoc.com.